photos, how to work.
Javad Mukhini was on the streets during those days. Now he's had to leave Iran, seeking refuge in Turkey because of the photos he took. They're stunning images, but they cost him his job, because he was working for the Revolutionary Guard press agency Fars News, a tool of the state. And these were images that the regime in Iran didn't want the world to see.
They told us not to go out and take photographs. They did not issue us with permits. They had told us not to take photographs and said that we are not going to be responsible if anything happens to you. We will not back you up, and we will even testify against you and claim that you are spies.
He defied his boss's orders, and this picture made it all the way to the front cover of Time magazine, every photographer's dream, but it was to be his downfall.
I took part in a meeting with the managing director of the Fars News and all the other photojournalists. He said he knew that 2 photographers had sent pictures abroad, and that if he found out who they were, he would deal with them severely.
Javad fled, leaving with nothing but his camera, laptop and a change of clothes.
I was afraid of flying. I took a risk coming to the airport. The passport officer asked me which town in Turkey I was visiting. Ankara, I said. Why Ankara and not another place, he asked. What if I went there and never came back? What do you mean, I asked. Of course I'm coming back. What reason would I have to not come back?
Because he took these photographs, Java became one of 80 young journalists to have fled Iran since the demonstrations. 39 are behind bars. And even though Azadi Square has fallen silent, the resistance is far from over. Because now they've been joined by the old guard. The custodians of the revolution are turning too.
The current members of the Revolutionary Guard are saying that they have become very disheartened. The situation is becoming unbearable.
One of the best places to understand why is here, in the Martyrs' Cemetery just outside of Tehran. This solemn place is where the dead of the Iran-Iraq war lie buried. Millions died. For those that survived, the memory of this war and their sacrifice forms much of their thinking.
We have given a lot of blood for the regime. We did not expect it to end up like this.
General Mohammad Reza Mahdi is one of these war veterans who rose through the ranks to become a very senior member of the Revolutionary Guard. Up until 2 years ago, General Mahdi served in intelligence. These are his ID cards. Note the Revolutionary Guard insignia in the top right-hand corner. He later headed the powerful Committee for the Protection of the Revolution. It's exceptional for a man like this, with nearly 30 years loyal service, to speak out against the regime.
I am simply acting on the promise I made to my martyred brothers and fellow warriors, and the oath we swore together. The regime is witnessing its destruction. The regime is prepared to instill fear and insecurity into the people within Iran in order to ensure its stability. It has got to that stage. The regime is sinking.
Every morning he puts on his bulletproof vest. It's a daily ritual. He's scared for his life. General Mahdi fled Iran 2 years ago after falling foul of the current leadership. Now he flits from country to country to avoid capture. He agreed to meet us here in Bangkok.
Ahmadinejad has no power. He's a puppet, a plaything. He does what he's told. No one has any belief in him. He has no power.
سلام علیکم آقا.
سلام علیکم آقا.
من فقط زنگ زدم عرض‌ادایی بکنم و یه احوال پرسیم.
Just as Iran's young bloggers use the internet to post their messages of dissent, so the general connects to the internet, conducting a whispering campaign with other high-ranking co-conspirators in Iran via Skype, sharing intelligence and monitoring events, trying to garner support to destabilize the regime from afar. General Mahdi told us that over a third of the Revolutionary Guard are against the regime. There is no way of verifying his claims. But back in Turkey we found a reluctant and frightened man who backed up what General Mahdi told us. Across his back he showed us the healing scars of recent torture. But this is what they looked like just 4 weeks ago.
It was a small cell. The ceiling was very low, a maximum of 1.5 meters. It was tiled throughout, so it was easy to clean, because there would constantly be bleeding and blood stains down there.
But this man was no student dissenter. He was a loyal son of the regime, a Republican guard, tortured for helping protesters.
They used to pretend our loved ones had been arrested and that they were there. You could constantly hear the shouting and screams of torture.
The regime has turned on its own. This revolution may have begun with the young, but now the men of the Revolutionary Guard, the conservatives, the custodians of the Islamic Revolution, are turning to stand alongside young men and women who are daring to take on the regime. It's this unholy alliance between young and old that is posing a new threat to the survival of the Islamic Republic.